Now we look at the value stream mapping. Value stream mapping provides a visual representation of the flow of materials and information throughout the organization. Value stream mapping is basically used for processes. It's a big process over here where you're trying to understand what am I seeing over here in terms of the entire process, and I have to represent the entire process. We are also looking at over here trying to understand if there is a value stream mapping which constitutes all the value added as well as non-value added which required to make the product. It consists of the process flow starting from the raw materials to make the product finally available in the hands of the customer. So this is your value stream mapping. You're looking at flow charts, process maps, written procedures, work instructions, tools which are used for process analysis and documentation. We also use, besides value stream mapping, we also use spaghetti diagrams. Now, what is value stream mapping? Is that a value stream map is created to identify all of the activities involved in product manufacturing from start to finish. It either talks about the value stream map, which may include suppliers. It's also talking about the customer. There are multiple benefits of a value stream map. You'll understand where the bottleneck is. You'll also try to understand if there'll be something that you can try to figure out from this value stream mapping. Now let's look at a sample of a value stream mapping over here. We look at a value stream where it's coming for a product family. Product means what kind of an organization it is and what is the product that you're trying to look at. Is it manufacturing of squash, fruits, pulp? Is it jams? Is it flowers? It is clothes? What is it? It is. So we're trying to understand the value stream for a product family, which may cross department boundaries in the company. This creates the potential for difficulties in coordinating an effective value stream project. Now we say that when there is a huge factory, a manufacturing unit, a production unit, we suggest that you have somebody who's a value stream manager. The only reason is the coordination and giving directions when you must give them directions. So whenever we talk about over here, we look at also trying to understand if you need over here any production person to handle the job of value stream manager. Sometimes company will say we cannot afford to have so many people in between. Try and see if you can fit the role somewhere over here. So what we do is that we do multitask. We try and give as much as possible over here. We will also look at over here the manager who monitor all aspects of the project, being a hands-on person. The manager should be on the floor on a regular basis. Now, value stream mapping process is shown below. It is just a process. End of the day, it's your project. You decide how you want to do the process. So you define the product family. You're drawing the current map. You're looking at over here. Whenever you draw the current state map, you're creating a future state map. You will then implement your planning. You will look at use product. You'll also look at over here trying to understand. Once you use a product equipment matrix, you'll also try to understand how you do this personally. You'll also try to ensure you will also need to understand over here. Sometimes these procedures can refined, fine-tuned, defined. They keep happening because you can also take one single element and try to override it or try to see how best you can do. From here, value stream mapping. This is how your value stream mapping actually moves. You have a supplier at one end, you have a customer at the other end. Supplier gives you the goods as per your specifications. So that's a process step one that goes into your data box. How long does this process take from your client to your warehouse to fully stack? We then look at the outbox. From here, if you look at from one process to the other process, you also have a wait time. Sometimes this wait time is because they want, to complete one entire process. Wait for a day, then start to see if there's anything more that they need to do at the back end, anything they've completed. So they do verifying from the quality aspect and they move ahead. Is this value stream mapping clear now? Value stream mapping clear in the process in a factory?
Yeah.
Now one question.
Yes, please.
Define product family. What exactly does that mean, and what is that?
A family, product family.
Yeah.
Product family is that, if I'm working in a company which is, let's say Kisan, manufacturing for, Kisan company. So my product family is only apple. Tomorrow it will be oranges. Tomorrow it will be only strawberries. So today my product family is this. So then it is given, because for every fruit, the amount of preservatives and sugar that you add, proportion changes. So you have to inform everybody down the line how it is. You understand? Also, apple, when you start squashing it, it starts turning brown very soon. So the preservatives have to be added far earlier. If you ever look at those factories, and I know I keep saying this because I had a chance to visit this factory in Manali, where they used to, Himachal Pradesh, where they make beautiful squashes. But all said and done, go on YouTube and watch that. It is amazing. It's just amazing, because see, there are every fruit you will have to have knowledge. Apple, even if you cut it and by the time you get out, it turns brown.
Yeah.
So they need to add preservative faster so that it does not turn brown. You understand?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Strawberries are thick, very thick pulp. Okay. As compared to that, even banana is thick. But then there is something, like pineapple, it's very watery. And sugar added in pineapple is very little, because they add a lot of citric to kill that, tanginess in that pineapple and this. So every fruit being a product family, they decide which product are we going in with. And based on that, instructions are given for everybody from start to end as to how to go ahead. Because if you cannot have the same kind of level for every fruit, or everything. It's the same way with so many other factories. Like if you're having the factory in Miami, if Bubba, which is known as, they have prawns, they have crabs, they have, shellfishes. So for each one of them, it's a different regulation. Crab, they're very, very sensitive. See, if even a child eating the meat of a crab, they find a shell, they can be sued for it. The company will close down. They cannot take a chance with that. So they're extremely careful with that. With prawns, even if a shell comes in, they're not too much worried because it doesn't kill anybody. Shell does. So they are trying to make it so doubly sure that not a single flesh has, by mistake, the hard shell of the crab gone into the meat while cleaning. The men who are cleaning it, you are saying so proudly, they clean within 1.5 minutes, they clean one whole crab. But the idea is not to clean it fast. The idea is to clean it, with quality, where no shell is ever, even a small piece is gone with it. So there are multiple products that we do. Now, depending on the industry that you are within, industry also there is a, products change, they vary. So based on that, you will try to understand. Like in a cloth factory, you have a white cloth. Okay, so the threads are white. You have to ensure that the machines are not oiled before doing this. The reason is that one stain on the white cloth, then the entire, the entire loom goes for a waste, because it catches very soon, the color. And when you keep it one above the other, the color goes all the way down. So there are, if you look at the industry, it's very interesting. These industries are very knowledgeable. You have to go deeper down, into it. Each and every topic goes deep. But of course, because of time constraint, I can't go deep. So I sometimes try to just, go about it. Now, when I draw the current state map, I'm drawing currently how are we moving. So currently, if I'm taking 8 hours, I'm trying to see whether I can take 6 hours. Like I told you, we used to do calling for Delta. Give me 1 second. We used to do calling for Delta Airlines through our call centers. Delta Airlines was one of the processes that had come to India. When we used to do the calling for Delta Airlines, our boys and girls would take 120 up to 130 calls in a day. And in that calls itself, sometimes we would not finish 120 because customers are old. Then they take a very long time and you have to explain it to them in detail. Now, when the flight gets cancelled, which happens in these months, November, December, Jan, Feb, plenty of flights get cancelled because there's heavy snow, there is a storm, there is weather conditions are bad, visibility is low, they cannot land, so they land in another airport. Then we have to ensure we give them, the airline gives them tea, coffee, snacks, and then from there they come over here the next day. So when all of this is happening, they're calling each and every customer to tell them that this flight is cancelled. Can we put you onto another flight? Or would you prefer to wait? We can put this money of yours as, as safe in our account, or we can return it back to you. Or we'll book you on the next available flight, which currently we don't know because there's heavy snowfall over here. In that case, in a day, the boys and girls take anywhere between 200 to 235 calls. Because you have to inform so many passengers, no? All the Delta flights, all of USA, they have cancelled it because even if the flight is coming from Miami into USA, into New York, Miami's weather is good, it's sunny, but New York, there's heavy snow. There is, heavy, the weather is very, very heavy over here. So that makes a problem. So we're trying to see how we can cut down on this, give customers information, details within that time without escalations. Do not shout at them. We don't tell them, ma'am, I've just repeated it thrice. So you can't say that because they're very old. They're 75, 80 years old. They cannot hear. You will have to repeat it till they are comfortable. And that means, in that 35, 40 minutes, you've taken only one call. And then you'll have to start bucking up for the next calls. So it happens. So we're trying to do the current state map. And from here, we're going to which future state map. You will have to do this personally because only you know your process. You being on the floor, you know the process. You're using a product equipment matrix, that is any tool, any matrix you're using to try and see how you can gauge it. Currently, there is a new system that has come up, which is known as a Gemba walk. Gemba walk is the Japanese feature. Gemba walk is where you walk in your factory or in your unit or process, even operations, to see how the process is going. So when you keep walking, you're only observing. You only observe. Every day you take a walk. If you are working, you're a factory manager, or you're in the factory, you're head of that particular unit, you will take 2 walks, entire factory. And you only observe. You only observe what are the steps happening. Where are we going now? How are we going here? From here, next what? How do we finish this off? What is required over here? So when you do the Gemba walk, you're only first observing. The second time you realize it is, everybody's talking, nobody's gone for the, for the next shift that they're supposed to move on to. Nobody's gone, to the next level where you have to now put the squash into bottling, or the bottles have not yet been cleared. They were supposed to be cleared around 15 minutes back. So all of these steps you can observe. You can ask questions. Only walk. We say walk the walk, walk the talk. Don't say anything. Just keep walking. It's known as a Gemba walk. It's a new concept that is come in by the Japanese. So you recognize it, you walk the walk, and then you see how you can make the changes over there. Once we do this walk, it is basically to show you in your process as to what is required. So when we talk about this walk, we say you first observe, you then recognize, you then try to solve the problem, you cooperate with them, you communicate with them, you watch, you very closely, you watch what's happening, see if they're following the new process. You see how you can add one more level to it. So all of these are value stream mapping goes deeper on each topic. Of course, I can't go that much deeper over here. And that's the reason why in the last sentence it says that can take months or years. That is because trying to understand each process, each level, the machine that it works, how it is working, what is going on, what is needed, all of that is something that you should know. Something like when you start driving the car, you should know how to add water in the car, where to add oil in the car, the fuel machine. You should know how to change the tire. These are very basics. You should know. Whether you're a girl or boy, you should know that. It's the same way when you're working in a factory, you should know the process. You should know which machine is going where, how to start the machine, how to close the machine, how long does it take for the machine to warm up, how long does it take from the time you shut off till the time you get it back. So having said that, that's your value stream mapping. You will look at the actual value stream mapping goes like this. These are the value stream mapping icons. You can use any of the icons. They may be used with value stream mapping, Kanban, any other lean manufacturing areas. So you have first in, first out, Kaizen burst, Kanban withdrawal, Kanban product, electronic flow, supermarket. So there are plenty of signals that you have which shows you how to go. Like in a factory, they have fire drill. Okay, I was part of the fire drill, and when the fire drill got when it got, we were all waiting outside. They started shouting, please check if everybody is there. Now how do you check if everybody is there? You only check your department, right? So I was telling that team who were there, I said we were 22 of us. Where is all the 22? And everybody kept looking at me very funnily. So I said, come on guys, we're 22. Where is everybody? Is everybody there? Till such time I realized later that you don't search for all 22, because then you'll be running helter skelter. What do you look for? To your person who's sitting to your left or to the person to your right. Are they there? You only check for 2 people around you. And that is fastest and the most easiest way to do. Anybody either in front of you, behind you, either left of you or right of you. You only try to look at that. So everybody was just trying to see who's my left, who's my right. Yes, you're there. To my left and right, you're there. The whole team was complete before you realized, because everybody was doing practically only that. Of course, we had a few mishaps that, the person who was supposed to be very injured, he was put on a stretcher. He, when he were coming down, instead of being on the stretcher, since he was they finding it very heavy, he decided to walk down, and then they got the firing of their life. They said, tomorrow if the person is really injured, will you tell him walk down the stairs? You have to carry him. No, so you have to carry. Then there was certain areas where it was very narrow and they couldn't put the stretcher, so they told him, abhi utar ja, chal ke ja, bahar hum log stretcher lekar ruke. That guy was from the fire brigade, they were shocked. They said, you all can't do this. So of course we acted stupid in most of the times, but that's how Kanban works, how this value stream mapping works. Your flow has to be smooth and it has to be for the purpose for it, what you have created. Have I made it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Now let's